right. So we're here. We did it.
And yeah, we did it. And welcome everybody to False Talk. What the hell is False Talk, you might ask? It's a podcast about just raw truth, actually. Nothing heavy, or sometimes it can be heavy, but I don't know. That's what it is to me. I can't wait to hear what it is to you, since we're doing it together. But I think it's a podcast about raw truth, and it speaks to best friendships, because if you really truly have a best friend, aren't you always so truthful? Hence you. And you're 20 years younger than I am, and you're one of my best friends, best friends. You are the person at 3 a.m. if I'm nabbed by the police or nabbed by anybody, unless if they're really, no, never mind. I would call you regardless. Only Derek can nab me. Still might call you.
And I welcome the call.
So I love you and I love our friendship, and this speaks to, I think, that for me anyway. What do you feel False Talk is?
Well, exactly what you just said. I feel like there are not many people, even very, very close friends of mine, that I can have the open and honest relationship that I have with you, where I find myself having to censor some of the things I'm saying to cater to their emotions,
right?
Rather than being able to kind of riff off of each other and understand why we might have differences on a certain viewpoint.
Right.
Like, and that's what I love about you so much with our friendship is I'm going off on something, you could say, Kristen, stop. Here's why this doesn't make sense. And I listen to you because I respect you. And I think that more than anything, I just want other people to, first of all, maybe understand that they can have these hard conversations with people that they love, and it doesn't have to end in a screaming match or a fight.
Right.
And most of all, just like, I'm so tired of everything being overrun by emotions. And it's nice to be able to vent to you, my best friend. And listen, sometimes you have to even keep my emotions in check, but that's what I love about this. And so
me, right. Yeah.
But that's what a friendship is. And like, to me, what false talk is really all this false BS going on in the mainstream media and the social media and all of these things that everyone's heads are so wrapped in circles that I don't even think that people who are agreeing or disagreeing with something actually know why. They're just doing it because the common vote or, whatever everyone else
or
is
the
doing.
Popular thing.
Right.
You said something that you listened to me. Well, I listen to you. I mean, my God, sometimes I'm like, you're my mother, my sister, my daughter, my best friend. When you trust the other person, insofar as that you're not going to get judged, shamed, you're able to fall, and they're going to help you get up and not necessarily agree. Like, we don't agree about everything. My friendship with you opened my eyes. Particularly, I think it's really good because you're 20 years younger. So you're a whole generation younger than I am. And you open my eyes to things. And I think information is power. And like what you just said there, unfortunately, we are now, and I hope moving forward into 2021, that we all can just learn to breathe, because I think you nailed it. No one's listening to each other, because it's like the word trigger. I was triggered this morning by something that had nothing to do with what was said to me. It triggered something in me that was like, oh, I'm not heard. So now I all of a sudden have to be emphatic so that I'm heard. That was like so triggered. I think triggers, so whatever the word may be, it doesn't matter to me what we use, like set off or whatever, is based in fear. So if you just breathe for a second and you're like, whatever this person has said coming at me, I don't need to like be like, you are this, or you can't feel that way, or how you're labeled this. Hey, probably not going to agree with you, but bring it on. Let me see if there's a nugget in there and might open my eyes, or just inform me. I could be completely wrong, which is normally the case when I listen to somebody. I'm like, never thought about that. Thank you.
It's important for me for people to tell me how they feel and why they feel, so I can try to put myself in their shoes and understand. Right. And that's like, I get a lot of flack on social media because I post things half the time just to like see where people are, like to get a temperature gauge of like, where are we as friends, as, you know, Republicans, Democrats, right, left, whatever it is. And half the time I post it, people get so angry because they think that I'm like trying to fuel the fire. And maybe I am. Maybe I'm bored. Maybe I'm a new mom sitting at home breastfeeding and I'm really bored.
No,
And
you've always been that way as far as I know you. Like, you really like to learn and like healthy debate insofar as you're not like poking. You do want to get a feel for where everybody is. And there's no hidden agenda from what I see. I love your posts and I love following you. And I love, you know, for obvious reasons, because you're my friend, but I also, you actually, when you're asking something, you spark like a light bulb in my head, like, oh, wow, I never really thought about that. I think it's settling down and putting yourself in other people's shoes. And I think we've really gotten away from that. It's really childish.
it is.
I think, like, if you just breathe for a second, look at the issues, no candidate, whether it be president, running for Congress, whatever it might be, is going to be perfect. They're not going to hit all the issues that are important to you as a person. So you might have top 10 issues that really are important to you, and then this candidate speaks to that, and then this other one might just speak to two of them. I mean, you kind of have to pick in totality of what it is, and it doesn't make you a bad person. Maybe the conversation should be, what are the issues that led you to that? And have we're not having conversations any longer.
Right.
That's what it is. No one's listening.
That's the
No
thing. Everyone
listening.
is so convinced that whatever is put into their brain is the right way that things should be. And so nothing that anybody says matters. And I get it to an extent, because there are people who will argue a certain topic to me, and my brain will not allow me to accept what they're saying is right. And maybe I'm being closed-minded in that. Or maybe fundamentally the way I was raised and the morals that I have and these certain things, that is who I am. I'm not pushing that on anybody else. And I'm not saying anybody else has to be like me, for the same reason that maybe I'm not going to understand what other people are saying. And it's just a fundamental, like, value. It comes down to values, I guess.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that my values are better than someone else's,
Absolutely
or that someone
not.
else's are better than mine. It's just, I am who I am. And sometimes we just have to learn that you can do you, I can do me. And we don't need to raise our voices. We don't need to get our heart rate up. Like, I know I see some people who are on their phones and, I have to reply to this tweet. And they are just going crazy because they feel so attacked. And that's the thing. Everybody takes everything so personally.
I had to call myself out because I was definitely getting that way. And a friend called me out on it, and I was getting, like you were saying, so passionate. I'm like, what's up? Who have I become? Like, freaking settle. And I will get my blood boiled over hypocrisy. Like, if someone's going to shame somebody, and yet they're all for doing the very same thing if it fits their narrative and platform, that drives me crazy. And I will call anybody out on that, and call me on it.
What happened today.
I want to be called out. Yes. Yeah. It happened today.
That's exactly what happened today. And thank you so much. I get to a point, I guess we'll just like kind of fill people in. Yeah, I had raised a subject on Facebook that someone else found controversial, and
by the way, can I just interrupt for a second?
Sure.
You didn't make a statement. You asked a question. That was what I thought was very interesting.
Right.
You asked a question,
I asked,
and then they were like, assuming, when you assume, you make an ass out of you and me, they assumed that you had some political agenda for which you don't. I know you didn't. So anyway, continue on. You asked a question on your own page. Yeah.
The question basically was, I was trying to understand what the correlation is between an officer shooting an armed person and then people going out and looting. And truly, I'll be very honest with you, I was hoping that people were going to say, this is how they show their anger. This is how they are getting out this energy that's bottled up of the frustration. That would make sense to me. But then I was getting, there are other things like, okay, well, go jump in the ocean, there are a million things you can do.
Right.
Or you can go rob a store. And that's what people want to do because they also want free shit. There.
Yeah.
I said it.
I mean, exactly. And I didn't even take from, to fill people in. I stood up for you because I was like, you're like assuming all these things. And she wrote it on her page. Now he started name calling, shaming. I don't know what he was assuming, but he started name calling and all this, when it's like, dude, she was just asking a question. Clearly, if you ask a question, you want to hear answers, and answers are going to be different because we all have different answers.
And it's going to help me understand better. Maybe someone has a really, really good answer for me, and no one did. And that's what's so disappointing to me, is it went from 0 to 100, and it got so heated by this one person's comments that no one else wanted to jump in and give their point of view, because now this guy is like attacking everyone.
Yeah.
And
well, I mean, that's what I said, Joe. I'm like, hold on a second. Like, just be, if you really are like, you're on her page. You don't need to be on her page if you're not liking the question, but you don't name call somebody. It's a free country. You're free to have your opinions or ask any question you like. And he's free to have his, but it's not like you went on his page and imposed your viewpoint. And then that way he could be like, buzz off, get off my page. I don't want these topics on my page. Blah, 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 blah. Absolutely. But he visited your page, then started name calling you. And for me, what I've really learned, and this is what I really hope we get to in 2021, not that I know any better than anybody, but I love the freedom we have in this country more than I hate an opposing view to myself. Go live in a country where you don't have the freedom to disagree. When you sit back and appreciate that, it's just so good and freeing. And then it opens your mind to hear the other side of things. I mean, anyway, that's what we hope that we get to.
Wishful thinking. Yeah. I would love to get to that place where people could be heard and not spoken at, or you know what I mean? Like, that's the thing, is everybody they think that they're on.
Or labeled.
Yeah.
Your actions can label you if your actions are such. If your actions are such, absolutely, then you earn that label. But just because you have a different belief, then it's like, you're this, you're that, you're the other thing, or I just have a difference of opinion of yours. I don't know. I think I learn more, just me. I watch as far as media, I watch every single outlet. I read totally different papers. I have friends with completely different views and same views. I learn more from the opposing view that I might share in a subject than I do listening to something that's going to feed me. And I think, you know what's sad to me is I think we're living in, oh my God, what was the Jim Carrey movie where he's living his own reality show?
Yes. The Truman Show.
Yes. So with all these algorithms, where you only see the same people's feed, you only see basically ads come up for what you've just spoken about or whatever.
Yes.
You're only getting fed your own viewpoint or something maybe completely different that you can, be set off on to get a little heated about. But when you live in your own Truman Show, when you're faced with something opposing that is scary. And
it's scary. It's
scary. It's like,
it's all fear-based.
Everything I'm seeing speaks to what I'm saying. You're the freak. Kind of speaks more to you that this is upsetting you.
Right.
Anyway, I feel like I honestly, the Truman Show is really sad. I mean, there's no silver lining in this pandemic whatsoever, but people did walk together, take family time, listened, did puzzles, time slowed down for a second.
Very true.
I personally took my notifications off of my phone. Emergency only, like my mom, well, first of all, she doesn't text. I sent all notifications off of text, and I take a time and I look at them then, because we've gotten into an immediate, everything's immediate. What have you done to kind of slow things down insofar as combating being immediately, you're a new mom,
right? So
your daughter's now
she's first priority.
Yes, absolutely.
It forced the phone out of my hand. The other weekend we were in Laguna, and some woman was at the pool next to me and just talking about the baby, and she was saying, like, isn't it so nice when you have those moments when you're feeding and you just get to look at her? And I thought to myself, oh my God, 9 times out of 10 when I'm feeding, I'm on my phone. So after that conversation, I've made a point. I set the phone far away, And it's just that time that I really get to take it in. She's 12 weeks tomorrow.
My
And I
God.
feel like she's already a toddler. Like she's 2 feet tall already. Like what happened to my little thing? So like the baby really has made me kind of slow down, appreciate, and truly, there's no emergencies in my life. There's nothing that
Yeah.
anybody could call and say, I need you right now, that I really need to be there right now for them. So if I get to
Right.
my phone an hour later or 2 hours or whatever it is, life is still going on. Everything's going to be okay. Like you are in a much different position. You have, how old is Mary now? 96, 97?
My mom in 6 weeks will be 97. I know.
Remember I was there
Unbelievable.
for the 95th? I can't believe it's been 2 years.
We should have her as a guest. We should have her as a guest. You and I
Absolutely.
get our best life advice from her. No disrespect to your mom, but my mom is
Oh
so
no.
much older. Like my mom could be
And she's just blunt.
age-wise could
Like
be my,
she says it
oh
like
my
it is.
God.
She's not gonna like tiptoe around issues. She's gonna
No.
say like, I remember when Seth and I were like, what are we doing? Are we getting married or not? And she'd be like, well then just leave him. You need to leave if he's not gonna marry you. Thank God he asked me to marry him. But Mary gives very good advice.
She does. She's talk about raw truth.
Right. This should be
Yeah.
her show.
I, yes, exactly. All right. So next episode, she will be our first guest.
Perfect.
And, we'll have to help her along a little bit here and there because her memory is not as what it was, but man, her raw truth is. So, oh my God, it's hilarious, isn't it? So,
Love her.
Anyway, Celine is your daughter, and she is so beautiful. Oh my God. And yeah, so that is the one good thing personally for me that happened in 2020. Celine was born.
Right.
Thank you, Angel, for
She
coming down.
hears you talking because she's waking up. I'm gonna grab her real quick.
Yes,
just so she
please.
doesn't start crying.
No, please bring her in.
Hi, baby. Hi, cute. Oh yes, you're waking up.
Hi, Celine. Hi, gorgeous Celine.
She tired. Yeah, you want to just rock with Mama?
Yeah. When you look at her and we're kind of talking about like how everything's become so polarized, it's like you look at a newborn, you're like, come on, everybody, just settle, just relax. Let's make this a nice world to live in. It doesn't have to be all like kumbaya. And I've made mistakes myself and of not adhering to that. But let's just all, I hope in 2021, no matter who wins, and half the country's not going to like who wins, period. Let's accept that.
Right.
And half the country's going to be elated. But we're better than that. We're bigger than that. And we all do have a voice. So everyone, by the time this drops, either will be about to vote or has voted, or the election's over if you're listening to this past November 2nd. So, or November 3rd, sorry. November 3rd. I should know that. November 3rd.
It clearly doesn't matter these days because everyone in California got mail in you know what I mean? So
I got
feel like
I got 4 of them, and I had already requested my absentee ballot, which made 5.
okay, I got 3 delivered to our address of people who used to live here who don't live here anymore.
Yeah.
That freaks me out.
Yeah, that's not okay. The thing listen, I get it. It's a pandemic. We have to make it as easy as we can and as safe as we can to vote, or in this case, what's in the best interest of you yourself and that obviously. But if you've been able to go to the grocery store, I think you should be able to vote in person. However, it's also your choice not to. And if each state is giving you that option, that's fantastic. My concern is no signature verification. You don't need to show ID in some situations or whatever. Come on.
In California, why didn't we have the option to say whether we wanted to have mail in or go? Like they just blanketly sent it to every registered voter and at their last registered address, which that can cause a lot of problems. Like I found out that one of the girls that was sent here, she now lives in New York. And so there's a possibility that if people are going to be doing this voter fraud stuff, They could just fill out however they want on, whatever side. I don't know who's going to do what, but,
Right.
and then so
Right.
it
Either
just,
side.
it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it needed to be figured out a lot better. So, but we'll see. I mean, it is what it is going to be. So,
I think
anyway,
they're just going to contest whoever wins. Whoever wins, the other party is going to say, nope, recount, revote. I have a feeling we're not going to know the actual winner for a very long time.
yeah, you might be absolutely right. We'll see. Well, it will be next when the next podcast drops.
Right.
We'll be in the thick of it. Anyway, so anyone that's listening to us, I hope that just because we question things or we think that things should be a little bit more accepting, that you don't now lean into accepting other people's viewpoints. And I'd say lean into celebrate instead of being so upset. Celebrate that we live in a country where you can have a difference of opinion and you're
friends.
this and you're that and still be friends.
Yeah.
Just ask me why I might think differently. Ask me why I think there's a huge difference between peaceful protests and looting a store and smashing bricks in people's faces or whatever the case may be. That's just an example, but just ask me and let's have a conversation without labeling each other
and calling names. Ooh.
Yeah, right, Celine. Go back to when you're gonna rear Celine, right? Don't shame, don't call names, share, all those good
fundamental,
yeah,
old elementary,
oh my God, we were talking about the phone. I sometimes think, okay, so I'm 55. I was alive when there was, no call waiting. So if you called someone and the phone was busy,
there is a busy signal.
And you're going to have to try them back. Sometimes
remember when you could just take the phone?
There you go. Yeah, that's a do not disturb. And we're never going to get back to
original.
That. Now the generation they have only lived with, this immediacy. Oh boy, I'd really like to go back to some of those days because time goes so quickly. And I'd like to slow things down to kind of what's important. That comes with age, and that obviously is coming to you with motherhood. I was talking to my mom today, and she said, how old am I? And I said, well, what do you think you are? And she said, 59. Isn't that great?
I love it. Did she just get them mixed up?
She thinks she's 59. No, Derek likes to ask her that question. And she's always like, I think I'm 60. She's always in the late 50s, early 60s age range. And I don't know. I loved that. One of the two things hit me when I was talking to her today is my mom always had younger friends than herself. She had older friends. She had friends the same age, but the bulk of her friends were younger. I think that kept her young, again, because my mom was very open to other ideas. And if you're only going to surround yourself with people with the same ideas, for which you and I do not, we have friends all over the spectrum. And I learn so much from my friends, and I love my friends. Our friends are our family. I can speak for both of us on that. And a lot of people from particularly Los Angeles County and that area, your friends become your family. A lot of us came from different cities, wherever. But one of the things I said to her was, she goes, am I right? And I said, well, no, actually, you ready for it? She's like, what? You're 96. I'm 96. Wow. Wow. And so how old are you? I go, closer to the age that you thought you were. I'm 55. And she's like, oh my gosh. And I said, do you like who you are inside? I mean, the age is just a number, right? She's like, I do. And I said, do you like growing older? And she's like, not really, because then there's sort of an ending point to it. And I want to keep going. There's so much to live for. So in her mind, she's 59 and she's got another 40 years going on.
I
So
wonder if like 59 was like the golden age for her, like the
I was
years
thinking
that
that,
she really
yeah, because
enjoyed.
yeah, because she kind of goes in that age range, like late 50s, early 60s. Um, what's been your favorite age, do you think? I mean, obviously right now, you've given birth to a whole other human being. Prior to Celine, let me just ask, would you say up to prior to Celine?
I would say my late 20s, early 30s, because that's when I traveled the world alone, did my crazy backpacking trips, and I was just so free. I
Free.
had a doctor the other day, he was asking me about my travels, and he goes, "Were you ever scared?" Because I backpacked Central America virtually by myself. I mean, you meet people at hostels and you do stuff with them, but I had to take a moment and I said, I had no fear, no fear. And here I am now with Celine and I'm scared of everything. It's like the
Right.
hormones or new mom stuff. But I miss that feeling of just being like, every day is a brand new day. I have no idea where it's going to take me. I'm just going to really enjoy it. And that
Yeah.
is I think the first time in my life, and maybe the last time, that I really was able to just live in the moment,
Hmm.
not worry about work. I wasn't working at the time. I got very lucky that I had some savings that I could just travel and
Smart girl.
not, it was the best decision I've made in my life. And not only is it my favorite time period, but I look back and I was a completely different person before my travels and then whoever I was during. But then after, it calmed me. It made me really appreciate living in the United
Yeah.
States,
Yeah.
because when you get to see a little taste of a different country and how they're governed and how
Yeah.
their process is when you live this, you think that everyone else in the world has it the same. And then
Right.
when you travel and you really live in other countries, and when I say live, like I spent 3 months in India, 6 months in Australia, I think 3 or 4 months backpacking all of Central America. And I just got a much different experience than people
Well,
who are like,
yeah.
oh, I vacationed in, Honduras, I went to Costa Rica, and it was
Well,
just,
speaking to what
yeah,
we're talking about, because then you're actually living in their world and seeing, and you're being educated to another way of life, another viewpoint, another uh, a way of life. You're actually in it. And now everybody can't have the means to travel like that. Um, but you made it happen, and you made it happen without working. You saved. Um,
well, and I
so
I did five
I think,
dollar a day hostels.
right.
I lived for free in India because I volunteered at an orphanage. So like, it's not like I had $100,000 in the bank and I'm just
Yeah.
flying first class, and like I was really slumming it.
No, it's the greatest education you can do for yourself, and also appreciating things, right? I mean,
Right.
because we can kind of be a little bit spoiled brats here in the United States. We are
Oh,
the
we
greatest,
get
freest
caught up in it.
country, and we get caught up in it. And it's like, okay, it's not perfect. No one's perfect, and we're trying to get there. That's the
Right.
goal, right? But and traveling in some, particularly the way that you did it. I used to play professional tennis, so I did a lot of traveling, and that's not the same as what you did. I did get to see loads of different countries. Um, it did it did awaken me, and to see different ways of countries, of life, of different viewpoints. They don't understand sometimes, like, why we do things the way we do here. I think, if anything, a lot of us, I mean, I don't know. I was political science, communications major, so I get a little maybe preachy on this, so I got to watch myself. But if anything, I think a lot of people have to go back to civics class and understand, or political science, wherever you call it now, how our government works in the first place before you get so heated, because
Right.
the way that it's set up. Now, if you don't like the way that it's set up, then there's ways that you can go to change that. But we are a republic, and states have their own government within that. I mean, it's like Schoolhouse Rock. I literally want to play that for people. And then that might calm people down for a second, like, oh, okay, I get it. And other countries don't understand that, but it's funny. They all want to come here,
Right.
and that's what makes our country great. We are a melting pot of of different religions, of different ethnicities, and everything. So yeah. And if you can't travel, if you can't travel like that, then read
Yeah.
read about other countries. Like, it's just, we got to open our minds. We're a little like that.
Hmm.
So
I agree. What was your favorite time in life?
I'm going to say my college years at USC. And I'm going to say that because I was about to say my high school years. I was a very controlled person. I never was really sort of free in my own head to explore different things. There's something about when I went to USC. I don't know. I was in a sorority I was at Northwestern for 2 years. Transferred to USC. I was a sorority of both, the same sorority. For something, I just sort of, maybe I was getting away from home. Northwestern was 20, 15 minutes from my house. Yeah. I had at that age already been exposed to so much, traveled the world. I think I liked being in a college away from what I grew up in, which is the North Shore of Chicago. That's really where I sort of, I don't know, became more free, more open. And I really can't describe it more than that. I think that was, I don't know. I think I came into my own at that age. I also went to college young. I was 17. I was 13 when I went to high school. I felt kind of coming into my adulthood, kind of figuring out who I am, good, bad, or indifferent. My love of California.
Yeah. Definitely.
Turning my back on professional tennis and becoming an actor, which was sort of crazy. You know,
you really came into your own, and I think at that point you started to realize what drove you and what fulfilled you, instead of kind of just going with the path that you were raised with.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
And I think it's not easy for a lot of people to make that leap, to really trust and believe in what, ending one chapter that, who knows what could have happened.
Right. Could have. Exactly. Like, I played in the majors, and that's not what I wanted to do. And I wasn't doing it for me at that point.
Right.
Like, it served its purpose. And I knew that if I wanted to become an actor, I needed to do it sooner than later.
So you trusted yourself.
Yeah. It's funny. We're talking about fear again. And we were talking at the beginning of the podcast about what sets people off. Like, we think it's fear. I think I was less fearful. And sort of just more open. And I think that's something that if the world could be, you have to have fear. Like, yeah, of course you do. It kind of keeps you
healthy fear, right?
Healthy fear. Yeah.
But
very
also
healthy fear.
It can stunt a lot of growth.
Yeah, I'm talking about fear. I'm not talking fear about illness or the pandemic, or a fear of, I'm talking inner fear. That's what I'm and for you to pick up and travel like that at a young age, and that's amazing. That's incredible. And yeah, it took me a while to kind of release my inner control. Control. It's control as well. I was
right.
letting that go. So anyway, so 2021, what do you hope for?
I hope for a sense of normalcy. Yeah. I hope for the life that I knew in 2019 to kind of start to show its face again. Maybe, we get this whole virus under control, and maybe we can stop wearing masks, and maybe we can start having, social gatherings and live music. Yeah. And just, I feel like all of the things that have brought us joy have been exiled. So I really want the joy back in life. And like, I can't complain, because listen, it's given me a lot of time to be with my daughter, be at home, and, spend time with her. But there is also, life must go on. Yeah. And I hope that she gets to see the world that I once knew. And, it doesn't have to happen tomorrow. And I understand that this is a very real virus. But so my biggest thing is, I think, regardless of who the president is, like that, the country's going to have to unite or not. I don't know.
Well, our country's bigger than, we have to remember that. Exactly.
Right.
But we're bigger than that.
Yeah.
If we can.
Mostly I hope to get over the virus first.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So let's say our prayers that this virus finally is contained. Yeah, that's good. that's great. I hope for that too. And we certainly will appreciate those moments, won't we? Like more so.
Oh my gosh,
like Celine, like
Stagecoach.
every moment that she's having is like a real, Stagecoach. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Like
Right.
concerts.
So
I don't even know what
that'll
to
be
begin with
fun
it.
when we get to go, when that opens up
Yeah.
whenever.
Yeah. I hope for that too. That's so beautifully said. I hope in 2021, I would really like to see personal responsibility come back into our lives. Meaning, I don't know. I don't. Maybe I'm reading into it, but I just see a lot of like victimhood. Listen, again, not talking about the pandemic. I'm talking about just a general raising of generations, like, oh well, this wasn't done right, or you offended me. It's like, oh my God. We watched Borat, the second movie. Brilliant.
Right.
Brilliant.
It was great.
Irreverent, pokes fun at everyone. Like, oh my gosh, he's amazing. I would like us to be a little less like everything offends me. Just personal responsibility, just sort of taking a reset. I'm hoping for a reset.
Yes.
I'm hoping for a reset.
Maeve.
So,
Across the board. That is the best way to put it. We need everybody to start back at zero. Yeah. And if we can all do that with open minds, open hearts, not being fear-based and listening.
Yeah, let's love each other.
Right.
I think Celine came into this world and every baby that was born in 2020, you're all miracles and you're amazing. So let's try to be a little bit more like that ourselves. So, all right, that's a good note, I think, to end this on.
Yeah.
I've loved chatting with you, and
Same,
I love
always.
all of our chats, and I love you to the moon and back.
Love you more, and so does Celine.
We'll see you next week. Hi,
see you next week.
All right, Celine was our first guest.
Yay!
Beautiful. From one extreme to the other. Tune in next week when we have advice from Mary.
It's important to keep those areas clean.
What areas?
Your private parts.
Yeah. But what in particular for why?
What?
In particular, I mean, not only for the obvious, but you want to.
For what?
Why do you really want to keep it nice and sparkly clean?
Because
your privates.
You might be using it for other things.
Mary talk. All right. Love you.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Meow.